So you'll be able to check back, and it'll be available to our other classmates who were not able to join. But this is going to be our first help session, and I'm glad you were able to find your way to sign on. This is one of the formats that we're able to use on Blackboard and be able to communicate and interact, and even without having to come to campus. So it's a nice tool. What I want to tackle here this afternoon are answers to these questions. I'm going to walk through and just show some basics of how I'm expecting you to navigate this course. I'll talk through how we're going to be grading on this course. You probably had a chance to look at that already on the syllabus. Talk just a bit about the textbook and this idea of engagement points, and then we're going to take a look at Module 1 and Module 2. Before we jump into those, I want to see if those who are attending, if you have any specific questions you want to make sure we cover today. You can communicate during the session. Yeah, Jesse, go ahead.
I was wondering if these are always going to be at 1:30.
No, I kind of spread them out. It's somewhat dependent on my schedule and when I think there might be a good time to catch a few persons. So sometimes I'll put some in the evening also. Is there a preference among those who attended? Has this been a good time?
It is for me today, but it kind of depends because getting my son from school and my husband works third shift, so.
Right. So sometimes people can pull away during the lunchtime. Sometimes evenings work better. Just know that if you aren't able to attend live, you will be able to later that day watch the recorded session, and I'll have a way that then you'll also interact. You watch the video and you'll post some answers to some questions and be able to be credited that way. Any other questions as we get rolling? And you can certainly check back, and I'll be pausing throughout to check in with questions. But I'm going to go ahead and start looking at this list. And to do that, switch the screen that you're looking at. So we'll go kind of into a tunnel here for a moment, and then you'll be able to see things that are on my screen. So there's the tunnel, and now you should be able to see what should look familiar as our Blackboard course. This is what the page from our announcements page when you first began. So I'm just scrolling up and down that you can see that, and the menu along the left side. The first button is where I am hoping each of you have begun or will begin the course. I spell out the tasks for getting started. There's a video of welcoming you. Some specifics for our course entry. And a course entry assignment is a very big deal on an online course. It's the first task that we want you to complete, and when you complete it, we then record that you have begun the class and your enrollment is confirmed. So be sure to look out for that for any online class you're taking. Also, if you're taking a hybrid class, that you come to campus, but you also do work outside of campus on Blackboard, your attendance is recorded when you first show up in the classroom and also when you first start doing online, and that's also through the course entry assignment. Often instructors, we make those the discussion board, but they can come out as quizzes or other types of assignments, but they're the first assignment. Scrolling down, I have some notes for you about where to find our syllabus. This link will take you there. I'm going to scroll up, and it also is right there. Syllabus is an important tool. We're going to look at it in just a moment that has a lot of information to explain how the class will work. Scrolling on down, a couple other things. I have some tips about using an online course. I have an assignment that I have made optional, but I encourage you to complete it. It's a simple way to practice using some of the tools on Blackboard. So that's a good one to tackle. And then the list of when you've completed these things, you're ready then to scroll back up and go to coursework. And coursework is where you'll find your modules. And each of those are aligned with what we have for our schedule that is also on our syllabus. So those are the things that I want you to start with this course. And under this button here or this button here, you'll find the same information. Those things are due on January 22nd. That's the same due date for our first module. So I want you working on both of those things. I'm going to go over here to the syllabus now and point out a couple things. A syllabus has two parts. At the bottom, you'll see a link to our universal course policies and procedures. Those are the parts of the syllabus that are the same for every course. So you're expected to know and understand those and know that they'll be the same for any course you're taking here at Foresight Tech. Then we have our course-specific one, and I'm going to open that up, and we'll take a further look at that. All right, so scrolling through here, you'll find information about the description of our course, our learning outcomes, and I want to specifically talk to you about this part for the grades. This class uses a weighted scale. So 45% of your final grade is going to be based on how you perform in these 6 projects. 25% will be how you perform on our course modules. And in our course modules, you'll be doing reading and study sheets, and then you will grade yourself on a checklist. 10% is how you are engaging, and these are through participation in a variety of activities. You earn 5 points towards this. This is one of them. So you're knocking out your first of your 5 points by participating in this online help session. There's going to be a variety of ways that you can choose how to participate. So some of those you'll have a choice to come to campus. Some of those you'll have a choice to participate online in a forum like this. And some of those will be using a discussion board where you can choose any time of the week to take part. So you can have a super crazy busy schedule and still be able to meet that requirement. And then the last part of the grade is towards the exams. Now for this class, the exams are taken online. They'll be midway through the course will be our midterm, modules 1 through 4. You'll take it online. You'll be able to use your study sheets. You'll be able to use your textbook, and you'll have a couple attempts at it. Then for the final exam, same format. It will just cover all of our modules. So you'll be able to use the study sheets from all of our modules, use our textbook, and you'll have a couple attempts at that. All right, so those projects, the modules, and the final exam are what you will track throughout the course. The schedule is on the back page of our syllabus, and I'll also be sending announcements and opening our modules as we go along and our projects as we progress along in the course. Then the class engagement, you'll be doing that throughout the semester. So you could complete all of the engagement at the front end of the course. You could wait and complete it all at the end, but I encourage you to just space it out throughout the module. I'm going to scroll now to the end of our module and point out our schedule. We have a week for each of these tasks, and due dates will always be falling on a Wednesday. I use the 11:59, so when it crosses over and it's no longer Wednesday, an assignment would be considered late. And you can track along this schedule when each of your tasks are due. I'm going to go back now to another part of our syllabus, and I want to highlight accepting of late work. I encourage you to complete all of our assignments by those due dates. But if something occurs that interferes with that, so an emergency happens, or you get bogged down in another class, or you just forget, I'm going to encourage you then to quickly as you can get the work in. I'll accept work with no questions up to a week late, and you can see on our syllabus how I will deduct for the grade based on when it comes in. If something occurs and you cannot submit work for a week, I ask that you make contact with me. Don't assume I'll accept it over a week late, but don't assume that I won't. Make contact with me and we'll problem solve then. And because our semester ends at the beginning of May, I don't accept any late work after April 25th. Another part with the attendance, while I'm not recording attendance in this class when you come to a classroom, there's no attendance like that, but we need you to be continuing to working forward and progressing. And if you're not participating for over 7 days, please reach out to me. If you're missing 3 or more consecutive online assignments in the first half of the semester, that may be a reason that you're dropped from the course. And then after the mid part of the course, if you're missing that many assignments, you may be at a point that you're failing the course. All right, so those are some key things that we're highlighting in our syllabus. Going back, I'm going to take a peek here now at our modules, but let me first come back and check in if we have any questions. So go ahead and speak up, or you can type in under the chat bubble at the bottom and type any questions you might have. And if no questions, go ahead and just type no questions in, and I'll go ahead and we'll proceed. Okay, so a chat bubble at the bottom, maybe not finding that right now. Okay, so I'm going to just go back to our list here. We looked at navigating the course. We dug into how the course is graded and some tips from the syllabus. I want to talk a little bit about this thing called the textbook. And to do that, I am going to go back to all right, checking in. All right, so no questions. Good deal. All right, so I'm going back to Blackboard. You'll see under our modules, I have a place that I use the course pack. So for Module 1, you'll see that there's no material you need from the course pack to be able to complete the assignments. But when you move to Module 2, I list about 5 parts that you'll need for the course pack. The course pack is that spiral ringed book. I'll show a picture of it here in our announcements with a cover just like that that's available in the college bookstore. It is a collection of sections from about 7 to 10 different textbooks. But instead of having you buy 7 to 10 textbooks and paying oodles of money for those, we pulled out just the good parts and organized them in this specific book for our intro class. You'll have tabs in it that will say Module 1 through 7. Those tabs align with our modules. So where can you find all this part? You just go to the tab that says Module 2 and you can find each of the different parts. Because it's collected from a variety of textbooks, it will not have the flow and the similar formatting through each part, but the content will be there and the price is much cheaper for this type of textbook. If you have not yet been able to get a copy of the textbook, I heard they may have sold out this week and are expecting them early next week. I am going to be sharing, and I'll put another folder along this left side. And I will add our sections for the textbook. So I will put out the section that you need for Module 2 if you're not able to get a copy before you want to begin Module 2. Keep me informed if you are having trouble getting a hold of that textbook, and I'll do some more problem solving. But I'll be able to upload, and then you'll be able to use an online part for reading those parts of the textbook. All right. So let's take a look at, well, let me check back for questions. Okay, we're good. Any questions on textbook? All right, I'm going to go ahead and look at Module 1. In Module 1, I made a video so you can have a visual way of finding and seeing things on Blackboard. This module is designed to be simple, a quick way to be able to get yourself familiar with key parts of the class. I encourage you to use this week as time for learning to navigate Blackboard. So learning what is under each of these links on the left side, trying some things out, seeing where parts of your assignment are, looking at the syllabus. And then to help you with doing some of those things, I've included a syllabus quiz and a study sheet for you to complete. Our study sheets will be in each module. Those will be for you to open up, and you can choose to print a copy and handwrite your answers or do it online. These are the same tools that you'll then use for helping you with each of our exams. And then when you've completed all the tasks of the module, so for Module 1, that's the syllabus quiz and the study sheet, you'll proceed to the bottom and open up our checklist. And you'll go through and tell me how you did on each of these tasks. So a very simple way of reporting back your completion of the module. Completing those checklists are part of the graded part, so be sure to don't overlook a checklist in any module or project. Module 2, we're going to take a peek. This is what I'm having you do next week, but we're going to look forward. This is when you begin using materials from the textbook. And I'll go ahead and get those materials. I'll get a spot here on the left menu, and I'll probably also embed it right here in the module if you don't have a copy of it. You will work on a discussion board, a study sheet, and there you have it again, a checklist telling how you've completed those steps. So there's your study sheet, a link to the discussion board, which you can also get to right by going directly to where it says discussion board on the left side, and then a checklist. The checklist is like it in the same format that will resemble an online test. It has true, false questions or a multiple choice question. You can complete it as many times as you want or need to during the module. So that means you can open it up and see what's in there, and if there's a part you forget and you'd have to say no to, just come back and do it again. All right, so let me go back to our board. All right, Tanisha added that confirmed what I thought. The bookstore, it does no longer have the textbooks in stock, but they're saying that they'll be back on Tuesday. So great. So be sure to check back on Tuesday for the textbooks, and you should be able to complete Module 1 without it. And I'll be adding some materials for Module 2, so you also won't be able, you'll be able to work ahead if you'd like. All right, so going back, and so we've so far covered how we navigate the course, grading, the textbook, and Module 1 and Module 2. And while I was talking on the syllabus, I also mentioned about engagement points. I briefly mentioned that there's going to be a method for earning engagement points that you don't have to have a schedule available during the daytime, or you don't have to come to main campus. There'll be opportunities that can be one way to earn engagement points, but it's not the only way. The additional way is going to open up next week, and I'll be adding to our discussion forum a forum on current events that will be open for that month. So we'll have a short one for January, and you can post and be part of the conversation during the month of January. And I'll have some more specifics on how you can be involved in those to earn an engagement point. There'll be one in February and March and April as we go along. So that will be an additional way to be able to earn points towards that. And remember, you need 5 for meeting the criteria for this course. Additional ones will be extra credit. All right, we've got a question here. I'm just going to read from Jesse. So I'm able to go back and redo the quiz portion. I skimmed the Module 1 stuff, but because it was stuff I'd gone over in a previous score, so that honestly knocked my grade down to 95. But I did go back over everything. So if I'm understanding right, Jesse, if you'd like to get your score to 100, you can go back in and answer those questions again. Remember that the checklist are part of the modules or the assignments, so they'll count towards just a portion of your final grade. So a 95 should be fine for going forward. If you ever go through and you get a 0 or 10%, that would be a reason to go back and to bring that up. But 95 should feel fine. If you would like to go back and get it to 100, it'll be open so you can take it multiple times. Other questions that I can help you out with? And if you just want to type in no questions, that also will work for us going forward. Absolutely. So if there's some questions about what to look forward in this class, this is a good time to ask those. So go ahead and post those types of questions. I will be opening up our other modules and projects as we go ahead, and I will open them up so there will be opportunity as we get rolling with this course to work ahead. I won't open all of them all the way to the end of the course. That gets too confusing, but we'll pace ourselves and there will be opportunities to work ahead. All right, so what types of events will be available? So what types of events that you might earn engagement points? There's a couple of opportunities that I knew ahead of time that I actually already embedded in the syllabus for guest speakers that are going to be coming and talking about transfer programs that are specific for human services students. So we are going to have someone from Winston-Salem State Social Work Program and someone from Winston State Rehab Studies Program talking about their bachelor's degrees, 4-year degrees that our AAS transfers into. So those are one possibility. In February, there is going to be some special events at our Woodruff campus for Black History Month and honoring some of our history of our center here. So you'll be able to participate in that if your schedule allows. Also, there are sometimes events here, additional events on Woodruff campus or on main campus that get announced that I think can be valuable for human service students. So I will make those possible. They can be films or other types of guest speakers. So those are just some of the examples of the events. Sometimes I may just learn about something, and because I think it's a good opportunity, I'll add it. All right, and we have a question curious about the agency of visit and wondering also about the APA template paper. The agency of visit is a project that we do at the latter part of the course. That will be a time that you'll have a choice about interviewing someone that's working in human services or visiting an agency that provides types of service. It's a human service agency, so it provides one type of services. So you'll choose between those, you'll go conduct that activity, and then you'll write your summary for it. I encourage students, as you're progressing with this class, if you are developing an interest in a specific area, to use this assignment to do your own digging into finding out more about that area or areas that you may be interested in building your career. The APA template is another one of our projects, and we do 2 parts with that. The first part, you do a first draft. You just work down the task list and attempt to set up your paper. And then the second, or your final draft, is after you've gotten feedback from me, you take your template to work with a tutor. That can be an online tutor or that can be a face-to-face tutor, and you make the corrections. It's a template because we don't do research. It's not about any topic. Instead, it's by setting up a cover page according to the format that we use in human services classes, which is APA format, or American Psychological Association's guidelines. It's setting up headings and margins. It's setting up the format for using citations, and then setting up the format for a reference list. It sounds a lot bigger and daunting than it actually is, because it only takes up 3 pages, and again, there's no research. It's just practicing how you follow the guidelines, and then practicing how you make edits when and using our tutors. So it's a lot simpler and basic than maybe the word sounds for that. So that's what's coming up for a couple of our assignments. We also have an assignment that we watch a video called The Lost Boys, and we look for human services concepts in action. We have a project, a diversity project, or I refer to it as people different than myself, and you will make a choice of either watching a movie from a list that I propose, or going and interviewing someone from a different background than yourself, and I'll give some guidelines of what meets the criteria, or attending an event that's different than your background. And again, I'll give some criteria for that. For example, sometimes a student whose background is a Christian background, they might attend a Jewish synagogue service and reflect on their experience from that. So those are some of the things that will be coming up. Have a question about the agency visit about a social worker at my son's school. A social worker would be one of the possible persons that you could interview. So because they would be a human services professional, that could be a match for that. And a school social worker is a position that you won't be qualified with your AAS degree, but it is a path that if you transfer to get a bachelor's in social work, either at UNCG or Winston-Salem State, then you could develop the credentials to be able to do that position. So for that reason, that could count for this assignment. All right, let me check in about any other questions. These are good. All right. Okay, question on the class blog. Class blog is just another tool that is in Blackboard that we'll practice using. Discussion board is one way that we interact with each other. So as you can see, it's a part, you can see everyone else's post in a discussion board and you can go back and forth. A blog is similar. It's a type of tool that everyone who's in the class can see what you post and share. And I included in a couple of our modules so you can practice using that tool as just another way that we can connect with each other. I'll give you the tasks that I want you to make a post about. So I may have you go out and find some things on the internet and share those links back with us and tell us a little bit about it. So it's a Blackboard tool that we'll be using. When we open up those modules, I'll give a little bit more of how-tos to make sure you're feeling comfortable with that. All right, we'll probably have time for another question if there's any more. And while you're thinking of those, I'm going to share about how I'll just record from this help session. This is recorded, so I will, after we wrap up here, I'll be posting it back on our Blackboard. I'll build another folder for our help sessions, and you'll be able to go back and check anything from this. So you can rewatch it and fast forward to anything that is helpful. Because of those of you who have attended this live, I'll be making notes of who's attended it, so you do not need to do anything more to earn an engagement point from this help session. If you have not attended it live and are watching the recorded part, there'll be also questions that I'll need for you to answer in order for me to give you credit that you're part of watching the video. But in turn, watching the video and answering the questions, if you didn't attend the live version, will earn you an engagement point for this activity. All right. So I'm not seeing any more questions post up, but these have been good. So I hope that you found this useful, and we'll be having some more of these throughout the semester. We'll have a number of other ways that we will also interact and engage with each other. As far as being able to get specific questions as you're going along, you don't have to wait for a help session to answer those. I may not have a help session at the time that you're having some questions, or I may not have it for every project or module. Please don't hesitate in those cases to send me an email or give me a call. You can leave on my voicemail, or stop by my office during my office hours. If the office hours aren't convenient times for you, you can also reach out to me and we can pick another time that we can either connect using this type of online tool, talking by phone, or schedule to meet face-to-face. So I'm here to help, and hopefully we'll have more time to connect as the semester goes along. All right. Well, thanks to those who were able to attend. I'm going to shut off the recording now, and I'll be leaving the screen. But I'll look forward to being in contact with you again real soon.